Go.
Are you starting?
I'm starting.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the Real, Raw and Relatable podcast. I'm your host, Stevie B, in the house. And today I have a special guest that we like to bring in once a month on the show.
Every time.
And it is Kat John, an authenticity coach who is also a speaker and a meditation someone and a something. Welcome.
It's so awesome to be here. Thank you for having me.
We love having you on for these sessions.
That's
where
great.
Where you get to add value to my audience with words of wisdom. What are we going to talk about today?
Well, before we get to that, what? You hate doing this. Why do you do it? Why? Let's talk that part out just quickly. Why do you dislike doing or sharing what we enjoyed and what you didn't take advantage of?
Think people don't care.
I think people do care.
Well, let's run a poll. Anyone who cares, press 1 now on your phone.
That's not going to do anything, you knob. Whoever is listening to this.
If anyone press 1, mate, check out. Like, seriously.
If you enjoy us opening the podcast with what we have enjoyed about our relationship and what we haven't enjoyed,
press 1
email info@catjohn.com.au. I will also give you Steve's personal number right now. No, I'm kidding. Because you'll skew the results. Yeah. Or DM me on Instagram, cat.john. DMs are a little bit dodgy because sometimes I actually just don't get them. So, yeah, email info@catjohn.com.au.
Yeah. So, and if you'd prefer to start with something different, like what's the most disgusting thing Kat's done in our relationship in the last 2 weeks, then DM Kat John. You see?
What?
I make you laugh.
Have you enjoyed and not enjoyed, you can start however you want, about our relationship in the past week?
I did not enjoy exactly what we're going to talk about today, which is that you left me for a week.
Oh, did you not?
No, I don't like it. But fortunately, another very attractive, caring, lovely lady took your spot in the bed with me.
Yes.
The only difference being that she's furry.
Yeah.
But she cuddled and it was nice.
Her name
and that
is
was
Daisy.
Daisy.
So you didn't like that I was away?
No, I like that you were away because I know that it's good for you. And I could see how much joy being at the Gwingana retreat brought you. I didn't like the fact that you were away for a week pretty much non-communicado.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I always have these fears that you're going to come back and, I don't know, have some fucking breakthrough and be like, oh, you know, I just realized, like, see you, mate. And not being able to talk was interesting. It allows my ego to make up stories.
You haven't actually, because I know you've shared it. Do you feel comfortable to share here what stories were coming up?
Oh, just there's heaps of stories that go through your head. Like,
no, your head.
Through my head.
Yeah. Own it.
Oh, so there were stories like, oh, well, you know, she does have reception because you were texting, but you were only texting things that you wanted to text. Yeah, I think when anyone goes off for, you know, for one of those retreats, there's always that concern, oh, you know, are they going to come back and like have thoughts that, you know, about things that are different, and if they are different, how's that going to affect our relationship, and all those sort of things.
Because when I came back, you were like, all right.
Yeah.
I was in the shower, coming out of the shower. Steve stands in the shower door and he's like, all right, hit me.
Yeah.
What are the changes that you're making? And I'm like, okay. Hi.
And I'm like, what else? What else? What else? I mean, I was in the middle of a poker game, so I had to make it efficient and tight.
Yeah.
But I think there was like 6 things that you're like, well, this is going to happen, and that's going to happen, this is going to happen. It's like, okay, cool. Anything else? You know, and we got through the list, and at the end of it, you know, you said you're going to hang around, so that's positive news.
Oh.
So that's what I did and didn't like, all in one thing.
Yep.
I like the fact that you go away and do things for yourself,
Mm.
which bring you happiness,
Mhm.
because today's episode is on
Yeah.
how to be
Independent
independent
in an
interdependent
interdependent relationship. Yeah.
And what I didn't like is that you were being independent in an interdependent relationship.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Oh, Kat, let me ask you a question.
Oh my gosh.
What did you
I
enjoy
can't believe
and
you
not
don't
enjoy about our
learn. You don't learn. You don't learn. Every time. We've been going for 7 years. I'm there hanging going, I can't wait to be asked a question. And then you don't. And then I have to give you a look.
I think
and then
it's
you're like,
implied.
no. Okay, so here's what happens when you don't ask me the question back. I don't think you care. That's what goes on in my head. That's the story that I create. That you only care about your answer, and then you're like, all right, off we go. And I'm like, hey. Hey, I'm over here.
I've asked you a question.
Okay. So what I enjoyed about our relationship in the last week is that when I did go away to Gwingana, I checked in once, and I think I said to you, how's everything going? And you said, don't bother asking. You be there. I've got it covered at home. And I really enjoyed that because I know that my mind was like, oh, how's Steve going to go with the girls? What are they doing for dinner? What are they doing for food? What are they, all of it? How's he getting them to work, etc. So I really enjoyed you taking full responsibility for your own children. But anyway, but I appreciate that because it allowed me to fully be there. But also too, I think you and I sort of had the same thing. I didn't hear from you very much. And I thought, oh shit, they're fine without me. And I know you said to the girls, don't message Kat. And in that, it was kind of like Vipassana. In that gap of like not hearing from Mim or from Ali or often from you, I was like, they don't need me. And
what if I get back and the door lock's been changed?
Well, not that, but just like they're okay without me, which is a beautiful thing. But then there's the other flip side of like, oh, they're okay without me. So do I even need to be in this family anymore? Like my brain was going into stories of, okay, well, maybe my job is done and they've healed their little 3 relationship and I'm good to go, you know? So that was interesting. It's not that I didn't like that about our relationship. I've just found myself getting curious about what happened to my thoughts in the space. So, yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
So today,
frame us up, buddy.
On the Real Raw Relatable show with your host, Steve Buckler, we are talking about independence in an interdependent relationship. And Kat John is an expert in this topic, which is why I've got her on. And what this really talks about is the fact that in a relationship, you can have healthy relationships which are interdependent, which is where you are individuals who choose to be in a relationship, but you're not in a
depending on each other for
relationship.
Happiness, for you have to hang out with me because that's what brings me joy. Like it's that needy, clingy
Correct.
shit.
In a dependent relationship, it's that stage 5 clinger. Oh, you're going out with your mates. Why are you going out with your mates? Everything should be about us. Quality time, this, that, the other. And it's in our opinion, in a healthy interdependent relationship, you can have your own lives and be in a relationship. And there's big benefits in that for not only yourselves, but for your relationship if what you bring back adds value and it creates solid. So the examples we're going to talk about is like last week, Kat took herself off for a week to Gwingana, which is a retreat for a week up in Queensland. And then tomorrow, I'm jumping on my motorbike and I'm going on a 3-day motorbike ride with one of my best mates, because that's the thing that brings me joy, right?
Mm.
Jumping on a bike, and just nothing brings me more
Yeah.
presence than being on a motorbike, and my mind can't be anywhere else, because if it is, see you later.
See you later. It
Um,
was we've been watching Morning Wars, the new series that has come out, and Esther Perel was on the show. What a legend! P.S. Esther Perel, and she asked the question to Alex
yeah,
on the show: when do you feel most alive?
yeah, she had to. There was like a small little clip, and
Yeah,
it was like she was interviewing her, and she said, "I feel most alive
alive when?
when,"
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you
yeah,
had to
yeah.
finish the question.
Mm,
And obviously, as people watching the show, your brain automatically like fills out your answers.
mm.
And so the next morning, I said to Kate, what was it for you? And your answer was
Dancing.
dance,
Mm,
and mine was I feel most alive when
mm.
I'm on my motorbike.
I wanted to quickly interject because I want to say this quite quickly because me going away to Wingana didn't then make Steve go, well, you've been to Gwingana. Now I want 3 days off because I've spent the last 5 days looking after the kids. When we talk about interdependence, we're not, it's not that.
Yeah, it's not trading
It's not
needs.
trading. It's not,
It's not
hey,
tit for tat.
you've had 5 days. You should be all whatever juiced up, and then let me go out. It did not come from that place. You'd been talking about going on a bike trip for some time. I obviously had Gwingana booked in for some time. I even went to a dance class last night, and you know, I think you and I are really good at honoring one another's independence because you and I both value freedom.
Hmm. But the thing is, and this is what we want to talk about today, is that why that's not a bad thing is if your partner, like let's say Kat goes away to Gwingana or to a course or to or whatever, and say she levels up,
Mm.
right? Because she's connected and she's learning new things. Like for example, Kat came back and she's like, I do this thing now in the morning called
Qigong,
Qigong, which is basically Tai Chi, which is very
moving
slow
meditation.
movement
Mm.
of energy through
Stunning.
meditation.
Stunning.
And so she brought that back to the relationship, and she's like, come and do it with me on the beach. So we went down to the beach and I did it. I'm like, that's fucking awesome,
Mm.
because I'm not a mega fan of meditation, because I just find sitting still like is difficult for me, although I have meditated before.
Yeah, you have.
And equally, I find yoga fucking annoying, because it's like I want to be moving, but when you're in downward dog for 5 minutes because your best mate, who's a yoga instructor, decides to leave you in chair pose or fucking downward dog, you just want to kill him. That also doesn't work.
We love you, Tommy Kendi.
But this movement practice is like right in the
Yeah,
middle.
it
It's like
is.
it's
It's
kind of
gorgeous.
yoga-esque, and it's very
Mm.
connected to breath, and it allows you to
Mm.
just really meditate. So she's brought that back to the relationship, which is awesome. So now we're
Yeah.
going to do that every morning. Um, and then if I go away and I have my time, it might not necessarily be that you bring something back that like
Mm.
levels it up, but if I go away and can just like really feel like presence and happiness and
Yeah.
like just clear my head, then you come back and you show up a better
Yeah.
version of you.
Yeah.
And fundamentally, I guess what we're getting at is that two people in a relationship are two different people
Yes.
coming together in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And if you show up to that as better versions of yourselves, then by default,
Mm.
you're going to have a better version of
Mm.
your relationship,
And I
right?
think it's like it when I was away at Gwingana, I thought, I wonder if Steve would want to be here. Maybe I should bring Steve next time. And there's this, I think there's and there was a few people there who were there by themselves and their partner were at home. And I actually think that's quite lovely. I mean, yes, it's great that you can share it together, but there's no way that I'd want to be dragging you to that or you dragging me on a motorbike trip or dragging you to a dance class or whatever it may be. It's like whatever you love, own that.
Yeah, perfect. It's like, and this is, I think, where people struggle. It's
Yeah.
like we're a heterosexual couple,
Mm.
right? Guys and girls will generally have completely different interests, right?
Mm.
I like cars, I like F1, I like motorbikes, I
Mm.
like building Lego. None of those things are on Kat's fucking list,
Nah.
right?
I like going in, although we do like hiking together, which is awesome.
Yeah. So there are some common things,
Yeah.
but you like going off to dance classes and like, all the other bits and
Like I like
pieces.
I shouldn't say I like experiences, but you don't, because you find motorbiking an experience, but I find experiences in, like African tribal dancing or a drumming class, and Steve would be like, "Yeah, cool. I'll see you when you're home."
Yeah. So the point of it all is that you can have one version of a relationship where you're always so busy trying to find something that you're both into, which is
Yeah.
hard because one person is always like, ugh,
Yeah.
but they're doing it for the other one. But what we're trying to say is that doesn't have to be that way. Like there
Mm.
is a space where you
Mm.
can just be like, hey, go do you,
Mm.
I'll go do me.
Mm.
It doesn't mean that we're not doing each other.
Yeah, that's right.
It just is about allowing what is to be. It basically creates an environment where there's much less resentment
Absolutely. Yeah.
because you're not being denied.
Yeah.
And it also makes you stronger because
Mm.
it creates the solidness in your
In
relationship to
Because you're
know that,
solid in yourself.
correct, to know
Yeah.
that it's not about us being together all
All
the
the time.
time.
Oh God, that would just, yeah,
Yeah.
nah.
And it's also, yeah, it's just a better way to be. And I
Mm.
get that there's people out there who are listening and they're like, dude, you know, we work 9 to 5, we've got kids, there's
Mm.
fucking no time. Like how could I possibly, take 3 days to myself, or how could I would never let my partner leave me alone with all that for 4 days or whatever.
Or my partner would never let me leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either way. And it's like, yes, that's true. Like when Kat was off for five days, like I had both my girls here, had to, well, I mean, they're older, they're 14 and 16, so I
Yeah.
don't really have to do much in terms of getting them ready for school and after school and bedtime. So I understand if someone's listening with 4 and 6 year olds, I've
It's a
been there,
different, yeah.
different game.
Mm.
And there's also that whole thing of, different times in your life allow for different things to happen. But
That's right.
where we are right now, like,
Mm.
yep, had to get them to work, had to feed them, had to,
Mm. Constantly go up to the shops because they eat like machines.
yeah.
Yeah.
But and I guess that sacrifice, so to speak, is what I was
Mm.
doing to give you the space, and vice
Yeah.
versa. Now I'm going to be away, and
Yeah.
you're going to help and do that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if this isn't a practice that you have in your relationship, then
Yeah.
it's one that we would highly encourage.
Mm.
And you can start small,
Mm.
right? It might be an afternoon. Just go off and do a class. Like, I guess the point is the same one that is always there, which is that as far as we know, we get one crack at life in this
Mm.
form, right? Don't let it pass you by
Mm.
just because of circumstance. There is always space that can be found
Mm.
to do things that you love. And I guess the whole point of this entire episode is by doing what you love and being true to what you love,
Mm.
you're going to show up better. And by showing up better, you're going to have a better relationship because you just,
Mm.
it's the same as even with gym, right? It's like, I go to gym 4 times a week. Kat goes to gym 4 times a week. We move our body, we walk our dogs. Like, being healthy
Mm.
means that you're going to show up better in your relationship because you're going to feel better in your body. You're going to feel better in
Yeah.
yourself. So you're going to show up better.
I guess it's that question, if people had this in the front of our minds, what can we do to show up better to this relationship? And one would be, like you just said, you keep yourself healthy, clean, etc. Also, you have your own independence inside of the relationship. I mean, I hate going shopping myself, but if I'm going to go shopping, there's fucking no chance I'm dragging Steve. Like, one, I like to go on my own anyway, and two, I'd just never make him come.
Yeah. I'd kill you.
You'd kill me.
Yep.
And I wouldn't enjoy it anyway. Even last night when I went to Afro Beats and I booked it, and you were jokingly like, "You didn't invite me." I'm like, "Yeah, because I knew you wouldn't come." And I'm like, "Would you like to come?" And you just said,
No.
"No."
No. And it's true.
And
Like I went to Chadstone the other week, which is a shopping centre for anyone who doesn't live in Melbourne, and I had to zip in to buy Lego because that was my Father's Day present to myself. And I saw all these dudes,
Yeah.
the dudes,
Yeah. Oh, sitting on the
all sitting on
chairs.
the chairs, looking like they wanted to fucking neck themselves. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I know exactly why you're
Yeah.
here, because in a
Yeah.
shop nearby is your partner.
Mm.
So
Even like something, I love watching the sunset. When spring and summertime comes, I love watching the sunset. There's a beautiful hill where we live, and I take the dogs. And in my ideal imagination, Steve's there, and Steve's wanting to be there, and Steve wants to stay for 5 seconds longer after the sun has gone down, and just appreciate everyone being around, right? But when Steve does come, he literally sits there with me.
yeah.
The sun goes down and he's like, righto, and off he's ready to go home. But and this is what I mean, it's really easy. So I could make up in that moment, well, Steve doesn't like to dance with me. Steve doesn't like to watch the sunset exactly how I like to watch the sunset. Steve doesn't want to come and do a painting class with me. Steve doesn't want to come to Gwingana. Not that, that situation was a bit different anyway. And it's really easy if you are dependent on someone else to then look at that relationship and think, well, that person's not for me.
Mm.
But then outside of that, like I have to look at, if I want to go and enjoy the sunset exactly how I would really love to and milk it and enjoy it, then I'm going to go with myself, with my dogs, and fucking love it.
Mm.
But then you and I, we have these really beautiful things that you and I do together, those scenic Saturdays. We get in the car, we go and hike, we chat, and that literally fills me up for weeks.
Yeah. And we both love travel, so when we're traveling, it's always awesome.
Yeah.
So there are common ground things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's more a case of, like, if in my case, if I did drag, say the F1's on, right? You have no interest in the
Not a
F1. If I
chance.
dragged her
I like
there,
watching that show, whatever
yeah,
it's called, Drive to
Drive to
Survive.
Survive.
That's cool.
But if I drag Kat to the F1 and I'm sitting there and I know in my heart of hearts the person next to me doesn't want to be there. It isn't what they enjoy. They're doing it only for me. To me, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's just like, how is anyone winning out of that?
Yeah.
Like, it's total
Yeah.
fake reality.
Yeah.
That the person you're with is not enjoying being there. You're trying to pretend that they are enjoying being there because you want quality time, which is conditional upon doing stuff
Yeah.
together
Yeah.
that either one of you like. So it's almost like interdependent relationships versus dependent relationships. Interdependent ones, it's the path of least resistance. Like, don't fight the reality. Reality is, these are the things I enjoy. These are the things you enjoy. If there are some common interests, amazing. Go and do those.
Yeah.
And if there aren't, don't deny them.
Yeah.
Because by denying them, you're denying your partner's experience of happiness. And if in your mind doing that is adding value to your relationship, then you need to DM Kat John, who will then pass your details to me because I'm not handing out my phone number. But yeah, that's pretty much
Yeah. I mean, but also too, there are things where, like, if you have you've been invited somewhere, or we've been invited somewhere, and you are happy to go, but I'm like, ugh. There are things where we do.
Of course, there's obligation stuff.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Where, like,
that's the only point that I wanted to add in there.
Yeah, this is not about saying, oh, well, you say no to everything.
Yeah, that's when you become a bit too independent, and then you think, well, shit, what are we doing?
Yeah, no, like there's, there's things like if there's a family function, the truth is probably none of us want to be there.
Yeah.
But we go.
We
right?
go. And we end up having fun.
Of course.
We do end up having fun.
But in the end, it's really the message for today is, if you're not already, find some space for interdependence to be independent as people. Go back to your joy.
Yeah.
If there's something you've been putting off, like, book it. Find some space for it.
Yeah.
There's always space to be found.
That is very true. And I guess when you do find that space, and if you are in a relationship, please don't make it tit for tat. Don't make it, well, I've given you this time, so now this is my time, and kind of keep tabs. You want to really do your best to keep this clean and honor your partner and have them honor you, because that's just a nicer way to operate,
Hmm.
you know.
Think about it like relationship fitness. Like I will always talk to people about business fitness. And they're like,
Yeah.
well, what's business fitness? I'm like, well, if I'm going in to battle in the world of business, do I want to show up like overweight, tired, lethargic, unrested? Or do I want to be like peaking,
Mm,
like fit and ready to go and like sharp and clear? So it's the same thing. It's all part of relationship fitness, which will bring you a better relationship.
yeah.
So thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. I can't wait to come back in a month
Yep.
and see if people would love us to continue talking about what we have enjoyed and not enjoyed.
Until then, I'll see you guys next week on the Real Raw Relatable Show with Stevie B.
Yeah, you see, it's not yours, because I always say, I'll see you in your earballs next week. See, he doesn't know.
No, I don't know.
He doesn't know.
I don't know.